The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Hot topics, food, fun, entertainment, and serious business. Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.
Hey folks, I'm not sure if I have anything left to talk about because what happens is when Andy gets here early, we end up just shooting the breeze and half of my show is gone because we start talking about everything. So for him, it's going to be a repeat. It'll be new to you folks. This is Andy Bellatti. He's a nutritionist. He has Andy Bellatti Nutrition. He's got his own website. He's published. You can see him on Inside Business. Business Insider,
yes,
right. Yeah, he
yes.
does a lot of things for them, and he's just a wealth of nutrition information. So I never run out of things to talk about. We've already covered the gamut of human nutrition and dog and cat nutrition and everything else that's all nutrition. But let's talk about some myths about nutrition. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about water. I've been I don't think I drink enough water, but then how do I really know? You know, what are the signs of dehydration? What are the things that people need to be aware of? And can we get water from other areas, other ways, other food items that we're eating?
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with how do you tell if you're dehydrated?
Right.
The easy way, and it might be a little bit gross, but you got to do it, okay? You got to know your body, is simply look at the color of your urine.
Right.
So if you're well hydrated, it should be a very pale yellow, like a watered down lemonade. That means that you're hydrated. If it's looking more like apple juice, or even a little bit less than that, but especially if it looks like dark orange or orangey, that means you're dehydrated. Now, one caveat is that if you're taking B vitamin supplements, that'll make your urine orange as well.
Right.
But by and large, if it's looking more like apple juice, you need to have more water. Now, to your other question, yes, of course you can drink water, but that's one of the great things about fruits and vegetables. They're very high in water. So if you eat, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, you are getting water there as well, so they're providing it. And you also do get water from things like coffee or tea, but keep in mind it should be unsweetened, so don't be having frappuccinos telling me that you're getting your water that way, because I'm not going to buy it or rent it or even Airbnb it.
Right.
But, it should be, ideally water is best, and, definitely no sugary beverages.
Right. A friend of mine, Rosalind Brooks, we were talking about her, who
Yeah, she's
owns,
fantastic.
oh my gosh, Vegas Roots at the Community Garden. She started this new group called Women of Wellness of Color. Women of Color. And one of the things that she's really pushing right now she said, if you don't do anything else, start and end your day with a cup of warm water with lemon squeezed into it. And she said it'll have just tremendous impact on your health, your overall health. What do you think about that?
Well, one great thing about having definitely lemon juice in your water, I mean, it can also be cold, but one great thing, especially, by the way, for kidney stones, anybody who has kidney stones or a risk of kidney stones, one of the best things you can drink, because the lemon juice has citrate in it, and citrate helps to prevent kidney stone formation.
Really?
Yeah, so I actually do that every day because I can form kidney stones easily, so I always have lemon in my water. And I haven't had any issues since. Yeah, so that's great. And also, it's a good way to get vitamin C,
Right,
so it doesn't hurt.
So right now, of all of the myths that are out there, what is your pet peeve in nutrition in the world right now?
Of all the ones that are out there right now, nutrition myths, I would say people who thinking that fruit is fattening is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Really?
I hear it all the time from people who think, like when I recommend something like, add some berries to your oatmeal, snack on an apple or a pear, 5 times out of 10 people will tell me, but isn't fruit fattening?
Where
And
do
I
we
say
get that
no.
from? I've never heard that.
I think people get confused because, yes, we definitely have to be cutting back on our sugar intake.
Okay.
But that is added sugar.
Right.
When you eat an apple, yes, you are getting some sugar, but it's bundled with fiber, it's bundled with nutrients, so you can't think of an apple the same way as you would Skittles. Totally different foods, okay? So,
Is Skittle even a food group?
no, you're right, it's not. It's fake food, right? But that's the thing. So people think that because an apple has sugar, that an apple is now bad for you, and that is completely untrue. I see it all the time, this fruit phobia, I call it. So no, eat an apple, eat a pear, have some blueberries, very healthy foods. You're getting, antioxidants that help fight cancer. You're getting minerals that help keep your blood sugar stable. So there's no need to fear fruit.
No.
Yeah.
Fear of fruit. That's a new one too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the combination too with nutrition and exercise, because you're a coach. So you're not just looking at the food that people are eating on their plates. You're also looking at how the people are living their lifestyle. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and wellness, health and wellness is all-encompassing. Being a dietitian, I'm very food-focused, but I tell people you also have to look at making sure that you are moving your body. It doesn't have to be the gym, just move your body. Also, sleep. You got to get enough sleep, and you also have to, have social connections. There's all this really interesting data now on this epidemic of loneliness.
Yeah.
And when you look at the science, you see that loneliness, again, mind-body, right?
Right.
Nobody walks in with like their head detached from their body. It's all connected.
Right.
And so loneliness, anxiety, depression have an effect on our health. It makes your blood pressure go up. It makes your blood sugar be out of whack. It affects your immune system. So you also need to have social connections, people in your life who you love and who you can trust. And that is really, I call them the four legs of the health table, right?
Right.
Food, physical activity, sleep, and stress/social connections.
Well, let's talk about the sleep thing, because that's the biggest challenge that I face. I mean, I'll lay down like the other night. I thought I went to bed relatively early for me.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm awake at like 2 o'clock, and the dogs are looking at me like, well, since you're awake, we might as well, go for a ride. Let's go to the dog park. And then, of course, I'm falling asleep. I'm getting tired again at about 4:30, but my sleep is broken. What do you recommend for people who, to really develop a pattern of healthy sleep?
Yeah, so it definitely takes some time, but you just said the key word, which is pattern. That has to do with building habits. So one thing I recommend is an hour before you want to go to bed is, and I know this is hard, no electronics. iPhones, iPads, laptops. The reason why, I know, like, are you going to kick me off the show?
My phone's right here. I couldn't even leave it in my purse. It's like, and I love it when you get that, so that something has happened and somebody's called, but you can't really do anything with it when you're here. But at home, it's like zzz.
Yeah, immediate. Yeah. But that's because all these devices, what they do is they emit a kind of light that makes your brain think that it's daylight. And so
Really?
and that can throw off your biorhythms.
Okay.
So that's one thing I recommend. And then the other thing I recommend is trying to, for say a week or two, try to go to bed at the same time. And even if you're not tired, just lay down. Don't be on your phone. But it's about building that habit. Some people find, and this is kind of individual, some people find that if they work out in the evening, it helps them sleep better at night. Other people find it actually wakes them up.
Okay.
So that's up to you and what you find.
Right.
So those three things.
I think I read, which one of the Bushes, I think there was the younger Bush, that he went to bed every night at 9 p.m. Regardless of what was happening in the world, that was his bedtime. And then I thought that was weird, but then I thought, well, think about that. All of the stuff he goes through of a day, he's probably up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because he's dealing with other time zones. So yes, in a way, that makes sense for him to go to bed. Let's cut it off. If the world catches fire, you guys can wake me back up. But
Yeah.
But I thought, what a healthy habit to have.
It is.
And make sure that he got his sleep. And I think of most of the presidents, he's the one who actually looked the best when he finally left office. Because there's something about being president, by the time you get out of office, your hair is all gone, your skin's kind of messed up, etc. So how much travel do you do?
I mainly try to stay local. I do travel for conferences, to sometimes give some talks. The great thing now with technology is that I can work with people anywhere in the world or the country.
Yeah.
But I will travel for conferences. And I was last at a conference that I love. It's called the Plant-Based Nutrition Healthcare Conference, all about plant-based nutrition. And that happens in Anaheim once a year in September. So I was last there on a panel talking about health coaching and things of that nature.
Well, the last time you were here, I think Chef Sharon was on with you.
2 times ago.
2 times ago,
yes.
yeah. And I just sat back and let you guys just handle it. But let's talk about plant-based diets, because as I've been transitioning to a plant-based diet, as I bring that up with people, I am amazed at the reactions I get from sometimes outright hostility, especially people who've known me for a long time. It's like, you queen carnivore, you're eating more vegetables? Really? Well, I've always liked vegetables. It's just like I just like to eat more. But then I also feel like, well, since the dogs are living there, everybody's going to more of a plant-based. They eat more meat now than I do. But I found that my palate has changed where I actually don't like meat as much as I used to. And I kind of tested myself. I was just craving it because it just smelled so good. I thought, I haven't had KFC, since so long. So I bought a bucket and I sat there and the dogs thought it was fantastic. And they ended up eating it all because it just didn't taste good. It tasted like too much. The extra crispy was too much. Everything was too much.
Yeah, well, and that shows you, and that's so interesting you say that, because one thing that happens is, our taste buds regenerate about every 30 days.
Really?
And that's why I tell people, whenever you're trying to either have less sugar or less salt or whatever it might be, stick with it for 30 days, because after day 30 or so, it gets easier. But what you're talking about is that your taste buds now have regenerated to the point where that kind of food just puts them into overdrive, right? It happened to me too, because, back when I was much younger, I would eat nacho cheese Doritos and soda.
Right.
And now when I eat it, well, I haven't had it in years, but if I do, it's not even something that I'm like, oh, that's so delicious. It actually tastes chemically and just nasty.
Right.
But it also shows you how when you do eat that regularly, you also get used to it and you start craving it more. So it's really fascinating.
Yeah. Finding local areas, like Vegas Juice is one of them, but places to buy plant-based foods, vegetables that are locally grown. There aren't that many locations. One of the things that I have been just found out about recently, I've become a very big fan of, is the Clark County School District. And for all you folks who want to beat up on CCSD, this is my thing about CCSD. I think that the school district has a lot of great programs. I think they do a terrible job of PR, of telling people about them. I found out about these gardens that they're putting in the schools. It was just so random. I met a chef who I stalked to get her on the show, because I stalk you guys. And it's like, I'll call. It's like, you got to be on my show. It's like, you better hurry up. And
Security.
right, exactly. Yeah, Rikki's coming. lock everything down. So I met the chef, and she told me about a program that she was doing for Southwest Medical, teaching seniors how to cook healthy meals and she broke it down too, the portion sizes, and it was so easy watching her do it. She put these meals together in like 15 minutes.
They were on last time I was here.
Right.
I remember.
And it was so impressive. And then through that, she was telling me about a school program that she was doing. So I went to the school with her, and that's when I found out about these gardens. Oh my gosh. And so I went to a Crestwood Elementary this week. They just put in I think they've got 4 gardens, but the Friday kids were putting in a garden. Not only was it remarkable and exciting and wonderful to watch these kids in action, but to watch them as they were harvesting their own things that they had planted, and everybody knew where my radishes, those are my radishes, and those are my carrots, and this is my stuff. And one of the ladies who's grow our planet, she said that one of the ladies who worked in the program said one of her biggest hurdles is when the regular teachers come out, they get really anxious when the kids just pull some vegetables out of the garden and just start eating them. They want them to take it inside and put them in vinegar and do all this stuff, and it's like, no, these kids planted them themselves. But there are all of these gardens, and these kids are learning, nutrition. It's just remarkable.
That's so great. Yeah, and I think getting kids involved in the gardening stage, or whether they're helping prepare food, is so important, because I think it makes them much more excited about eating these kinds of foods and learning how it's grown and where it comes from. So I think those are spectacular programs.
And what they were saying too was one of the teachers was telling me that they use the gardens also as teaching tools. And she said to teach the kids about graphs and pie charts. They were able to show them how the progression of a plant's growth. They used that as sort of like a math tool.
Nice.
So they're not just using the garden and that the kids who garden are more relaxed, they're more focused, they're just excited about everything, and a lot of the behavioral issues have gone away because also the kids are eating better.
Yes.
And they're actually getting good food.
Yes, exactly. They're actually nourishing their brains. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right.
So for people who have not seen you for your many appearances here,
Yeah.
give us an idea of your background. How did you get into nutrition?
Okay, well, so I originally went to school for journalism, and then I graduated and I realized, well, I actually don't want to be a journalist anymore. At least not the traditional route.
Right.
And right around the time that happened, like a week before, I had watched the documentary Super Size Me, which was about, he ate McDonald's for 30 days, and then, it was Morgan Spurlock.
Right, that was a horror movie.
Yes, it was. It was, yeah. It was like scarier than Blair Witch. And I saw that, and I remember thinking, wow, it just opened my eyes to so much, because they also talked about food politics a little bit. And that's what kind of sparked the initial idea to study nutrition, and that's what I ended up doing. So it really was that documentary.
Yeah, I remember when I was watching that, how his health just deteriorated. And I thought, he's chronicling this. How many people are eating McDonald's or eating these foods every day, wondering, why am I so tired? Why am I getting sick? Why is my life not working? Well, what are you putting into your body? It's like, it's just amazing. And I didn't really I was just more scared because I wasn't a big McDonald's person, so I just thought it was just McDonald's. It wasn't like all of the food. And when I started really looking at, what do I eat on a regular basis? I'm a popcorn girl, tacos girl, not a whole lot of fast food, but more fast food than vegetables by far. Not a big pizza eater, but unless pizza was actually delivered to work, in which case I would get as many slices as possible.
Yeah.
But a big candy person. I was a big candy sugar person. That was my drug of choice. Now I've switched more to salt, but for a long time it was sugar. Yeah, and sugar's some nasty stuff.
And that's the thing that, there was some criticism back then of, well, nobody really eats McDonald's 3 times a day for 30 days like he did. And the answer is, well, it might not be McDonald's, but a lot of people are eating highly processed foods, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 25 days of the month. So his experiment was actually not that unrealistic.
Right.
Because, there are tens of different kind of food chains that serve similarly highly processed food. So even if you never eat McDonald's, you could be eating in a way that is just not nourishing to your body and has those kind of consequences. And that's why when I hear people tell me who are 30 or 35, 40 or 50, that, well, I'm 45, I'm supposed to have high blood pressure. No, you're not. You're not. Who told you that? You blow out your birthday candles and then you tell me you have high blood pressure? It doesn't work like that.
I think the last time you were on, you were talking about, people will say, well, high blood pressure runs in my family or diabetes runs in my family. No, bad food habits run in your family, and so you're not tracing those back. I was talking to some folks this weekend about how my father, God love him, did not meet a vegetable he didn't fry, or just boil every sort of his parents were from the South, and even though he was a New Yorker, he was raised cooking that way, and pretty much Daddy's food tasted really good, but I don't think that there was a whole lot of nutritional value left by the time it actually hit the table. and I think that's with a lot of folks, is that we're overcooking our foods. We're putting more stuff in our foods. One of my biggest challenges was, once I decided to get off salt, and I'm still struggling with this, I'm not really good with all of the different spices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hear people say, you can find other ways to spice up your food, but it's like, I don't like that.
We can talk about that more, because I have a lot of good ideas, because that's one thing that I talk to a lot of people about. Because I agree with you. It's important to have less salt, but it's important to make food taste good when you do that.
Right.
You don't want it to taste bland.
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can do that.
And that's what I think makes people not want to eat healthily, because it's like the KFC. I mean, I had not gotten KFC for so long that it didn't even occur to me that I wouldn't want it, because literally I was driving by and it just smelled really, really good, and something just triggered in my brain that said, I think I should give myself a treat. I've been eating like a lot of plants and just roasting and slow cooking in my slow cooker, my chicken for a long time now, and I deserve a treat. Having no idea that it's like the only person that was happy about that was Apollo and Akira. They were just like, "Ooh, this is great," but like, yeah. But that's part of it too. Is you teach people how to change their lifestyle as well, because that's very important. We talked about getting to sleep and talk about moving, but also it's like when you get up in the morning, what do you do? When you like Rosalind was saying, she wants women in her group to have warm lemon water to get that started. I'm glad you said it could be cold, because that actually kind of gets in the way for me, because I'm sitting there kind of going, it means I got to get up and I got to go downstairs and I got to warm it up, or I have to warm it in the bathroom, and so so I'll have the lemons there. It's like I'm all set up, but okay, I'm gonna miss this day, and if you're watching, Rosalind, I'm sorry. I'm just admitting it. I miss a couple of days because it just seems like so much work to go and warm it up, and so it makes me not do it. So in a way, you have to help the people that I'm sure you run into this. Put it into your lifestyle in a gradual way, because this whole, for me, going toward a plant-based diet, this has been going on for like a couple of years. This wasn't something I just started last week. It was something that little by little I thought, okay, I'm not going to buy so much chicken. I used to be a very, very big fan when Larry owned it. New family owns it now, Larry's Western Meats. I found Larry's Western Meats because of my dogs, because I was taking them to PetSmart and I was buying those expensive prepackaged bones. And finally one lady said, "Why are you spending $6 for one bone? Go down to Larry's Western Meats," which I've been driving by my whole life, right? Yeah. And get their beef bones. Ha ha! But it wasn't that. When I walked in, I'd never seen freshly butchered meat. So it was so bad at one point, they would ask me, how much of this is for you and how much of this is for Sean? And sometimes Shawnee didn't get that much meat. It's just like, I'm sorry, baby, I can't break the steak off for you this time. And it's like, Mama loves you, but not that much. And but this was once I made that decision, and again, seeing some health issues in my family, I knew I couldn't do it overnight. I knew if I just started and said, I'm just not going to eat meat at all, I would be so unhappy, it would just make me go the other direction.
It's all about gradual changes.
Right.
Those are my most successful clients. So some examples would be, for example, I'll say, start by making your breakfasts 100% plant-based. Because for some people, that's easier to do. That's where you can have your oatmeal, your chia pudding. You can have, some really fantastic plant-based whole food pancakes that are delicious, with fruit and nuts and seeds, almond butter toast. So for a lot of people that's easier. That's one example. Another way you might do is just start talking about, okay, so start adding more bean-based dishes to your week. So you do it in steps, and the key though is you got to make it taste good.
Right.
So things like garbanzo beans. Most people open up a can, pour them over a salad. I mean, that's not really very appealing.
And then they're chalky.
Right, and it's just out of a can. I mean, so what I tell people is, here's what you do as a side dish or as a snack. You can use canned chickpeas. You drain and rinse them, put them in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil or toasted sesame oil, a little balsamic vinegar, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, onion powder, a little bit of ground ginger, a little bit of soy sauce. Bake that in the oven for 20-25 minutes at 425. What happens is all those liquids caramelize, the soy sauce and the lemon juice and the balsamic vinegar. The chickpeas get nice and crispy. And so you have this really flavorful, delicious way to eat beans as a side dish, as a snack. And that gets people wanting to
great.
eat them.
Yeah.
But that's the key. You got to know how to cook, and that's not even cooking. That's just assembling things in a bowl. So it's also not intimidating. You're not chopping.
Right.
You don't even need a knife.
Right.
But that's the key, because otherwise, eating garbanzo beans in a salad out of a can, it's bland.
Right.
Right. So it's about the gradual steps and making people realize how tasty and easy it can be.
Right. And that's what Chef Michelle was. That was so great watching her with these ladies at Southwest Medical. Was all of their eyes just got big because they could see how she just made it really, really simple. And there were some steps too. I kind of was looking going, oh, I didn't even think about that, because I do a lot of food prep. Food, I think for me personally, food prep is important because it takes the guesswork out of, you open the refrigerator and now you're thinking, I don't know what I'm going to get, and yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people too, you have to plan ahead. So case in point, it's very different if you get home late and tired, but you have the components to make a healthy meal where all you have to do is maybe stir fry them. that's a lot easier than having to get home and start chopping. You're not going to do that.
Right.
So you need to also be prepared, and batch cooking is a great way to do it. So a lot of times, like on a Sunday, I'll just cook a whole bunch of whether it's quinoa or brown rice. I'll have some beans also cooked. And then during the week, I just assemble that, make a quick sauce, and, maybe add some cilantro or whatever and some hemp seeds on top, and there's a meal.
Right.
But that's because it's already pre-prepped.
Right. Where do you shop?
I do a combination of Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and Whole Foods, depending on, because those are also very close to me.
Right.
They're very close to where I live. But you can do that. You could also go to the more traditional stores like Smith's or whatever, and you can have the exact same foods. That's the thing too. I tell people whenever I help people shop, I ask them, where do you shop, and I go with them to that store. Because here's the thing, sure, at Sprouts and Whole Foods you can get some particular, perhaps fancier items, but beans, lentils, oats,
it's going to be the
fruits,
same stuff.
vegetables, nuts, and seeds are all at any, whole wheat pasta. That's all at any store. So you don't need to go and buy necessarily fancier things. Now, sure, at some of the other stores you can get, things like a vegan butter or like an almond milk yogurt. Those are more available, but those aren't necessary to eat a plant-based diet.
Yeah. One of the things that when I first started on this little nutritional journey, and I found this to be so true because my habits have changed so much, is go on the perimeter. If you're going to go into any of the big stores like Smith's or Albertsons, the truth of the matter is that's where the vegetables are. If you're going into the middle aisles, that's where all the packaged stuff is. And so since I started getting out of that, it's just, I don't even really know where anything is anymore in the aisles because I just don't go down the aisles. I make my rounds. I'll go and buy the fruit, and I'll buy whatever meat I'm going to buy, and then I make it back out of there. So I'm not even really tempted to buy any packaged foods anymore. And I just find that other than popcorn, I can't give that up.
And popcorn, by the way, I mean, unless you're dousing it in canola oil or things like that, popcorn is a whole grain. It's a lot of fiber, really good for you.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
So, as long as you're not, again, drowning it in, because by the way, that movie theater butter is not even real butter. It's soybean oil with coloring. And by the way, soybean oil is one of the worst things you can eat.
Right.
So,
and then they slap, of course I always get extra butter as I'm putting that fake butter on it going, okay, I'm at the movie theater, so I'm just going to go for it with this because I want to get the whole thing. But I know in my heart that this stuff is it's nasty. It's really bad for me. But you talk about that too. It's it's not about punishing yourself.
No.
Yeah. No,
you have to make this a lifestyle, and that includes, things have to be planned ahead. So I always tell my people, I go up for the 80-20 or 90-10 rule, where if 80 to 90% of your meals are whole food, plant-based, or as much as possible, that 10-20% comes out to 2 or 4 meals a week, where if you want to, you can maybe indulge. Or if you're going to a party where you don't have much control over what you eat, you don't turn it into this whole anxiety-ridden thing. Eating should not be about anxiety and punishment and guilt and why did I do this when you plan ahead. So if you know that 2 meals a week, you don't have to worry about them, then if you do go to a wedding and you end up eating 2 cupcakes, well, that's part of your 10%. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Worry more about what you're doing 90% of the time because that's what's going to matter.
Right. Words of wisdom as we wrap up.
Yes, always a pleasure.
We're going to be right back. Again, you can find Andy. He is on the web. He's got his own website. You can email him. He can give you some information, and he is a wellness coach. So if you need some tips on how to live your life more fully, and somebody who is really, really funny and witty and who's not going to make you feel bad about yourself,
exactly, yes.
This is the guy. We'll be right back.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. So it's not a bad idea every now and then to check your battery. If you don't know how to do it, have somebody check it for you. Just a visual inspection can tell you a lot about your battery. So as we can see here, this battery's got a hold down. It's nice and tight. The cables are on. They don't look bad. We've got a cover. We don't see any corrosion. Everything's kind of tight, looking good. A little bit of dirt, that's normal, but nothing's leaking. No real cause for alarm here. So that's a good sign. Doesn't mean it's good, but at least visually we know that it's intact. Okay, so we're looking at a battery here that shows signs of corrosion. We want to test that battery to make sure it's good. Usually when they're getting like this, there's going to be a problem, leaking some acid at the top. We ran the test and we find out it has 396 cold cranking amps, but the battery requires 650. So it's just not enough. The battery is going to go soon. Better to know now than later. Okay, so the benefits of checking the cable is because this cable's rotted out. What we'll find is this is the problem, not the battery. So it'll save you from buying a battery, still having the no start, only to find out that it's a cable. This type of corrosion is common in diesels. Okay, so we're getting ready to jump the car, but we have to have some battery cables. And we have to check those too before we hook them up to the battery. So here we have our standard set of battery cables. We just look them over, see if the ends are frayed, if everything's connected all right. Everything looks good here. Wouldn't hurt to check the rest of the cable just to make sure the dog didn't get it and chew it up. We have red and black. Red's positive, black's negative. You always want to hook the positive up first and then the negative. And I'll show you how that's done right now. Keep these off to the side so they're not touching each other. Hook up your positive. You can find that right here by the plus sign, the negative sign. Plus is positive, red. Make sure that's securely hooked up. Keeping these away from each other. Hook up your negative cable. Just got to fight it on there. Figure out a way to get it. Wiggle it a little bit so it ensures a good connection. Now you're transferring voltage. If I hit these two together, we're going to spark. Kind of want to avoid that. Won't kill you. Kind of fun. A lot of people think if they can turn the headlights on, the battery's fine. That's not always the case. It takes very little amperage to turn a light on, but it takes a lot of amperage to start the starter. I recommend checking the charging system every oil change. At Sun Valley Automotive, there's never a charge for that. This is Crazy Terry with your car care tip of the day.
We're going to continue our conversation about food, but for a different member of the family, because we have got the queen of Vegas Dog Radio. We've got Sam Ratcliffe. Now, how do you say your last name? Because
this last name is crazy because it's hyphenated.
Right.
So it's Ratcliffe hyphen.
Right.
Diarigo.
Diarigo.
Yeah.
Every time I look at it, I don't want to say it because I haven't heard you say it that much, and I don't want to like mangle it up. Diarigo.
Like there's a little hiccup in the middle. Like Diarigo.
She's got her own radio show. She and her friend, partner in crime, Pam Webb. You guys run Vegas. I'm sorry, Rockin' for Rescues. You just wrapped up your big golf tournament.
We did.
And they are on a roll. One of the things I love about their organization is that they don't just, once I kind of got into the dog world, and we were talking about that before, there are so many rescues. There are like 70 some odd rescues here in this valley. If you get Pet Scene magazine, look in the back. There is a rescue for everything except Akita's, because that lady passed away. But she was, I know, but pretty much every breed is represented here.
Every breed or all breed. I mean, any kind of animal. And I don't think people realize the full scope of what we have in town.
Right.
So there's kind of no excuse. If you're looking for certain breeds, people love certain breeds.
Yeah.
And some people will knock people for that. And I say, well, people just like certain dogs,
I am very breed specific. I'm an Akita person. I have nothing against anybody else. I just happen to be obsessed with Akitas. And then some people just love dogs.
They do. That's right. They don't mind.
Your three babies are so cute.
I'll
they
take
are stars.
Got 3 legs. But it's true that I don't knock people for that, because people do have an affection for a certain breed, and we've got those breed rescues anyway.
Right.
So you don't have to go to a breeder because we got them here.
Yes,
it's simple as that.
How do you and Pam keep up with all of these different things? Because every time I turn around, you're doing another fundraiser that's bigger than the one you did before.
It's never ending.
Right. Because don't you have is it this week that you're having the photos?
It's not. Well, I'm saying it's not till. It's actually not far away. It's November the 18th.
Right.
So that's our holiday photo fundraiser.
Right.
That's the one that's going to be slammed, because it always is.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it early. A lot of people ask, why did you do it so early in November? And I said, well, people want to get Christmas cards made. They want to get Hanukkah cards made. They just want to get new photos for the end of the year that they send out to all the family members.
Right.
So that's why we do it early, give them a chance to be able to do that. But it'll be busy. We're doing a 5-hour stint on this one. What What's wrong with me? But we do have fun, though.
Yes.
We have such a good laugh. And it's a great way for us to connect with people. You know, periodically, every 3 months, we're doing that kind of thing. So we do get to see people face to face. And I love doing the Facebook Lives because people are so happy when I do that and they see all those cute little dogs.
Right.
And you know what we had happen on this last one that we just did, which was the Halloween one? It was hilarious.
Yes.
We had a friend that said, look, I can't make it, but I would like to pay for photos for a couple of rescue dogs who've not had the opportunity to have really lovely photos, you know, or they haven't connected with a photographer yet. And she ended up paying for 4. Then we ended up paying for 8. but it increases their chances of adoption.
Yes.
So we're going to encourage people to do that on this holiday one. And we're going to say, you know, if you love a certain rescue and you'd like to give them a little hand up or a paw up, as we like to say, you can pay for their photos and then that foster can bring them down, get great photos and increase their adoption, you know, chances. But we do have a good old laugh. Me and Pam, we get on the floor with the first have pictures. We get on the floor with our backdrop, and that's how we kick off every photo fundraiser.
I know, I love them.
So yeah, so we've got that, and then we've got we do a thing called Mutt Match Mondays. And a Mutt Match Mondays, and a lot of people don't know this in charity, but the number one way to raise funds is to get someone to give you money that will match donations. It is the number one way. I don't know why more people don't do it.
That makes sense.
So what we do is we'll say, we'll match up to $500 or we'll match up to $1,000 for this particular rescue. And then what we do is we guide them through how they're going to actually do that online event. So we do it through Facebook. It happens on their page though, because we want them to communicate with their network of supporters. Of course it goes on ours and we do a lot of promo, but what we do is we guide them, and I create a lot of images for them that'll show some of their dogs that are in rescue, and just cute things like your
So this is every Monday?
Not every Monday, but we choose a Monday to do it. And so
Mutt Match Monday,
where we match the funds. And so what we do is I create all these images, and it'll say, you know, your donation today will be doubled if you make a donation. And I encourage the rescues to tell their story, how they got started, who they've helped, who's in rescue, why the donations make the difference, and they learn to just not ask for money.
Right.
And of course the link is always on there to give the money, but it's about the story and the connection. And I think I'd love to see more rescues do this, and in a positive way, not in a negative way. It's been proven time and time again, those sad, heart-wrenching, you know, you stick your fingers in your ears because it's really upsetting, or you turn the channel off, don't work. But giving a little bit of hope and saying your donations will be able to get us to do this, bring more animals in, that's the direction we tell them in. And what I love to see is once we guide them with that, and we say it's a 24-hour period that they do that in, is they've adopted something new themselves that they realize works.
Yeah.
So now I see these rescues tell their story, and I love to see the story. You know, I don't want to hear like, give us money.
Well, that's what I love so much about Rockin' for Rescue, is because you it's so positive.
Yes.
You guys look like you were just like two party girls.
If it's not fun, we're not doing it.
Yeah. When I came out to do a story on her and Pam for the Now Report, and we laughed. We were sitting on the floor. The dogs were running, and I think Pam kept thinking, well, like, this is going to be a problem. It's like, I have Akitas. I'm used to dog hair. This is nothing. It's like, I sit on the floor. I lay down on the floor. The only thing is, people say, well, do you sleep with your dogs? I said, no, I'd look like Santa Claus every day. That's the only reason why I don't sleep with my dogs. Is like, they are really, really hairy. It would take me forever. Even at this point, I will just share this with you. If I'm going out and they know I'm going out, it's the love bye. It's okay, she's getting dressed.
Is it like the air kiss?
And then there's like a clump on one side. So if I know I need to make a fast escape, I go downstairs in my skivvies and lure them outside, you know, because then it's like, no, I know what you guys are going to do. You're going to follow me to the front door, and you're going to act like you're so sorry to see me go. No, you're just spreading hair. Just be honest about this. You're just spreading hair.
It's a condiment, isn't it? It's on everything.
Well, speaking of condiments, you brought me these treats. I just love when people give me presents. But what I really love is when people give me presents for my dogs.
That's what I like too.
Oh,
I'm
me
like,
too.
they care about my doggies.
I know,
That's the sweetest thing ever. I don't care less about me at all, you know. But yeah, for my dogs, I love it.
Let me tell you a really quick story. I'm not sure if I shared this with you before. I don't really like to go to a lot of openings if it's going to be like a paint a park or something like that. For me, I'm just crazy when it comes to parking. If it's going to be a problem, I'm not going. So I came to work one day, and there was this beer sign. It was for a beer tasting event, and I'm not drinking beer. But what got me was there was a bone from Bon Appetit, which is, really high, kind of highfalutin, with Apollo's name on it.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought, now, I don't know who this PR person is, but that actually, you're good. I actually went to the event because I had to call her and say, girlfriend, that worked. That got me up off my couch to come down there, that you, who do not know me, but you must know somebody who knows me.
Right.
You gave me a present with Apollo's name on it. And so then I kept it on my desk for the longest time, and people said, but Rikki, just take a picture of it. Are you going to give it to him? It's like, no, he's not eating this.
It's too lovely.
It's too lovely. So now you brought me turkey time. Let's talk about dog treats, because this is a big thing with me. Once I first started taking Sean to training, initially we were really encouraged to buy the packaged stuff.
Right.
And then I started looking on the back covers of what was in the packaged stuff.
Horrifying.
And it was like, I might as well just give him Old Roy if I'm going to do that.
You probably couldn't even pronounce the names of what was in it.
Right. And so then I started bringing in my food that I cooked for him, which made us kind of unpopular among the other owners because Sean was eating real chicken.
Good stuff.
And then the other dogs were kind of coming behind going, yes, I'll go, Sean's been here. So it was kind of a problem for a while. But these are treats. You can buy treats. This is turkey time.
Yeah.
Cleverly crafted dog treats. And
I've
gosh.
eaten these. I have eaten these.
Yes.
They do a coconut one that's absolutely fantastic.
And I love the analysis. I mean, there's like very few ingredients.
Very few ingredients. You can read them all. You know what they are.
Yes.
And this is the trend now in pet treats, which is great. Foods are definitely improving. More and more people are going to partial raw diets, dehydrated, which is all great. And then treats finally are on the map
catching
too,
up,
in the right way. And so these treats are low calorie. Think about how many treats sometimes people give their pets a day. Sometimes give them a big giant treat. I love these. They're not big.
Yes, yeah.
They're not a huge size.
Yeah, they're like little hearts, heart shaped.
And again, the ingredients are right.
Yes.
And the smell of them, fantastic. And I love
them. They
them.
Smell good.
I love them because, they, like this one, it's turkey time, so we're coming close to Thanksgiving. I think it's fantastic. Right. But like they say here, rethink dog treats. And I think that's something you have to do because that can be, I think it's supposed to be 10% of your caloric intake for your pets.
Right.
Can be treats.
Right.
Not in addition to what they're supposed to eat in a day.
Right.
So, and that's where I think people get, start looking at their dogs and go, oh, my dog's overweight. I wonder why.
Right.
And often it can just be the treats alone.
Right.
So if you do a low calorie one, then great ingredients,
Yeah.
And I mean, I said we're finally getting on the map with the treats now, which is really good.
Andy and I were talking off camera about his cat. He didn't realize that his cat was fat because he has a Maine Coon cat, and so they were really, really big. So he took it to get his lion cut, and his vet said, we need to talk. Your cat is 30 pounds and he's only supposed to be 18. Well, it turned out that he was treating him too.
Yeah.
And I've just noticed lately with Apollo is kind of he's more of a slick dog, so I can kind of feel him.
Yeah.
But Akira is that girl is a monster. She's big and she's really, really puffy. She's and I found myself looking at her the other day going, I wonder if you're fat. I wonder if maybe because I'm thinking that you're so hairy.
Right.
Maybe you're getting a little chubby because I've caught her. What she does is she body slams Apollo away from his pan. She does. Oh. And then she'll go over and eat out of her pan. Oh. And then he'll kind of stand there looking at her like, okay, she's going to charge me again.
Do it again.
And then he'll wait until he thinks that she's kind of done. And then she'll come over there and then she'll stand over there. It's like, girl, you have a whole pan over there.
It's quite the game, isn't it?
Yes. I love watching that sort of balance of power. But I found myself thinking the other day, because I don't do a lot of treats.
Right.
But I think maybe she's eating more food than she's supposed to.
She could well be. And you've got to think about it. I mean, our dogs, compared to us, are small.
Yes.
Even in Nikita's a small little being. And you start loading extra calories on them, they will get overweight very quickly.
Right.
And knees, hips, all of that becomes a big issue.
Right.
I can't bear to see a sausage dog. overweight, I cannot bear to see it because it just loads on their spine.
Right.
And I know people feel like they're being kind, but you're really being kind if you actually really care about their weight and what you give them to eat. So yes, I think treats have really. I usually do these, or I do
turkey time,
or I'm at my own at home.
Turkey time.
Yeah, carrots. They love carrots. They love blueberries. Yeah. Oh, two will eat blueberries. As they are. One has to have it broken open.
Because you've got 3 little ones.
Well,
right?
I lost one of mine earlier this year,
and
that's probably been the worst thing ever in life. It really, really is. So yeah, it feels very strange to have 2. It feels very, very strange.
Isn't it amazing how the
energy
balance
yes.
and the energy in the house? Like when I take them to go to the vet, or I take them to go get groomed, I walk in the house and it just feels so odd.
It's really weird. And now we had 3 girls and 2 boys, and now it's like 2 girls, 2. It just feels weird. And there is definitely an energy with the amount of animals you have, or whether it's a boy or a girl. I mean, my Mr. Twix, he's crazy, and he brings a whole different energy. He's running around with a green mohawk right now. He's so funny, but he has a completely different energy. From Thornton's she's easygoing girl. She's so easygoing, and he is just like into all kinds of stuff. He's the kind of dog to keep himself busy by himself. He really is. Like, I don't need anybody. I lived in the desert. You don't even know how I survived. I really am okay,
Well, I was very anxious about getting 2 Akitas, because I used to always say to people, whenever you see 2 Akitas, you see 2 people, because they're such powerful dogs. I didn't know anybody who had 2 Akitas, it was by themselves. But after when I lost Sean, I thought, he was never supposed to be an only child.
Right.
And so I got Akira first, and then I said, just suck it up, girl, suck it up. And I went ahead and got Apollo. It has been the best thing I ever did. Their personalities are so different. What they do is so different. It's just, and it's amazing to watch them interact and to watch them play.
And to have company.
Yes.
Because you do feel guilty if you leave the house and you've got one pet. You do. I mean, even if you're only gone for like an hour, you still feel like you see their face, they look at you as you leave, and you're like, no.
Well, even leaving the 2 of them, I can see when they come back to the gate, when I drive up, they're like, she's here. And if I don't immediately let them in, people they've got issues and attitudes back there. People start scratching at the, hello, we know you're here now. You should open the door and let us in. I would like to maybe wash my face or something before you guys come in.
Is it? It's just not happening. And then I always kiss them on the face before I leave and say I love you. Yeah. And sometimes I've got big high shoes on, tight pants, and I'm going to somehow squat down. But I have this whole I will not leave my house without kissing my pets. I just will not leave the house without kissing them and telling them how much I love them, and it won't be long.
Right.
But sometimes it's a challenge.
Yes.
On the fashion side.
Yes.
But I do it. I absolutely do it. Sometimes I've got I like to wear a lot of necklaces normally. So I bend down and my dogs are like, whoa, hang on, you're trying to smack us in the face.
Right, right.
But I make a point of that. I'm I wonder if it's part of OCD, which I seems to be increasing the older I get.
No.
Did I close the garage door? Did I blah blah blah? But I have to make sure
we do that with our kids. We do that with our husbands and our boyfriends. So why wouldn't we do that with our dogs?
Exactly.
Well, and this is how I knew I had become a dog person, because I went from I will never let a dog lick my face. I will never.
You became that person.
Any piece of exposed skin now is and don't. The only thing I will put them outside is if I'm going to take a bath.
Right.
Because everybody thinks that the lotion is I'm like a chew toy.
Yeah.
Don't you love that?
Or the coconut oil, I throw that in my bath.
Right.
Oh yeah, everybody's licking your legs. They call it drive-by licking.
It's no, that defeats my whole purpose of me, trying to, put my lotion on, and they're gonna lick it all off.
It's funny what you before you get pets, what you say you won't do and you will do. But I always say this, because I lost my big girl this year. I always say, and a friend lost his cat yesterday, was 21.
Oh wow!
And I said, you know what? I don't care how old they are. We never feel like we have enough time with them. Let them up on the couch. Let them live in your home as part of your family.
Yeah.
Because once they're gone, you will regret not letting them on the couch and licking your face and licking your legs and stuff. And I say, I don't care how old they are. You never enough time. So just always make the time for your pets, always.
Yeah.
Because they just give you so much. You can't even measure it. You cannot measure what they do for you, you know. And you feel what you give back to them is nowhere near equal. You're just like, because it's so much that you get from them.
I was like when they want to come and lay up under me. It's like for the longest time and I'll wait in the morning. There's a routine. I can hear the tinkle of the tags, which means it's the face. Everybody's looking at each other and they're grooming each other. So it's like, okay, 10 minutes. Yep. And then there's Akira drinking a ton of water.
Right.
And then here comes Apollo, bump it, bump it, bump it, bump it, bump. And then here comes Akira, bump it, bump it, bump it, bump it. And I've got these two massive animals sitting in my bedroom going, are you going to get up?
You gotta get up.
You're going to get up and go out outside. No, maybe I would like to go on Facebook right now. Go downstairs.
Yes, but they don't allow it. They don't allow it. They're the bosses of us. I mean, I literally am like, can I just open the curtains? That would be great, you know? And they're like, no. And then I just give in.
Right. Me too. It's like if you're going to harass me, I might as well get up now. Because then they just, and they're just looking at me. And they're loud, too. They're the loudest panthers on the planet. Okay, well, fine. We're going.
Yeah,
we'll
just do it. Mr. Twix has a funny thing he does in the morning. And I always sing this song, is this about me or is this about you? Because I sit up in bed, he puts his paws on my shoulders, he stands up and he kisses my face. And I always go, is this about me or is this about you? Because I have to tickle his belly. And I'm like, I don't think it's about me. I think it's about him, but it's a way to get it to be about him.
It's a trade-off. Listen, I always love having you on the show.
I love coming
Yes,
over here.
so let's talk about your next fundraisers once again coming up.
November 18th at Barking Dog Self-Wash and Grooming, which is in Blue Diamond. We'll be there for 5 hours,
right.
But it will be worth you calling ahead and making an appointment,
right?
Because we will be busy, and we usually have accessories there. We usually have Hanukkah accessories, Christmas accessories, if you want to put something on your pets.
Right.
And the great thing is, you can be in the pictures too. So if you've got a dog that you go, it's not going to sit there by itself, which we always get great photos, be in the photo with them.
Right.
And if you've got multiple pets, bring them all at once. We're not going to charge you for every pet because we don't have time for that. Put all 6 of them together. We had 6 one time, and we made it work, and it looked amazing. And it's $25. It's so cheap.
That is so cheap because honestly, I paid the big money because I had that same problem. I couldn't ever get good. All of my babies, Akitas, they have the curly tails. So all I ever got were butt shots. I tell people all the time, it's like, as soon as I see the camera coming out, it's like, and I'm in the media. Sit down and stay. And they'll be like this until they see the cameras, like,
then they stop.
Butt stops. So I paid like a lot of money for professional shots. And I didn't know that, you guys were in business and you could get really cool, pretty pictures.
I mean, we have people that come every single photo session because we do spring, we do the Halloween, we do the holiday one, and the Valentine's one is packed. We had 50 people show up with their pets on Valentine's. So Christmas will be a similar kind of thing, but yeah, call ahead if you can because it makes it so much easier. And then we email you those shots, and there's about 10. You get about 10 digitals. Yeah. And you can do whatever you want with them, you know.
That's so fun.
And then you've always got nice current photos. And we did have one lady recently who said, I don't have my dog with me because my dog passed away, but I want to say thank you because I got to have great photos on your last photo session that I'll have forever. So definitely come. We always have a good time. and
also for those of you on just a pet safety issue, I'm amazed at how many people don't have current pictures of their pets.
Oh, they don't.
God forbid your dog or your cat should get out.
Yeah.
Then if you need to put up a poster or something, a lot of people do not take pictures of their pets.
And not good
just
ones.
Snap a really good one, and not just their face, because Akira's face is one color. Both of them have dark faces.
Right.
But their bodies are entirely different.
And unusual markings and those kind of things, so you can identify them.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one time they both got, all my neighbors, so they get out a lot. But the one time when Akira and they both got out, I was actually riding up and down the street saying, has anybody seen a black and white horse? I mean, because basically, I knew if she was out, it turned out she had taken Apollo shot to the neighbor's house.
They went for a cup of tea.
They were watching TV. He put his pit bulls in the backyard, and they were in the living room watching TV. It's like, really? You stress me out like that?
Yeah.
But that was a wake up call for me. It's like I've got beautiful pictures of them for their faces,
Yes.
but I didn't have that many pictures of their
entire
bodies.
bodies. Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Photos are great, though. I mean, and it's this. I think people should throw themselves in those photos, especially around the holidays.
Yeah.
Why not dress up nice, put your Christmas sweater on, or whatever it is you do, and it's easy and less stressful. In fact, the people that what's most stressful about our photo sessions are the people. It's not the pets. People relax.
Yeah, I was so
your
stressed
dogs are
out.
okay. We don't expect them to be perfect. Don't worry about it. And we've had a couple of dogs come that aren't good around other dogs. So we have a separate door that's right where we take the photos. We clear the whole area. We want those people to be able to take pictures of their pets too. So they come in, we make it work. We're quick, boom, boom, boom. Thank you for your money. Your email will come and you got your
That's
pictures.
good to know because Akira doesn't like, she loves Apollo, but she doesn't necessarily like other dogs.
Right, yeah. And the thing is, Mr. Twix is the same. He can be okay one day, and next day he's like, I hate all of you. But I still want nice pictures. So we know how to manage it.
Right.
We really, really do. But
Next time you're on, we didn't even have time to talk about your radio show.
We can do it again.
Right, we're going to do it again. And we're always going to do it again here on Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. I love having the guests on who just make me laugh. And then they bring me dog treats. Woohoo! And not to say that you have to bring me dog treats if you're going to be on the
Bring
show,
her
but if
dog
you
treats.
do, I love treats for my dogs. We'll see you here next week.